TV. Hope you're having a good one. What's good? What's good? What's good? Rick Ritchie in his house. He invested and he guessed. There's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes life is a guess. Today was an interesting day. I mean, it wasn't anything spectacular. And the reason why is because we're expecting jobs numbers this week. You know, we're expecting CPI this week. I'm not expecting any good news from the jobs numbers. I don't think anybody is. Right? January was hosed. I mean, the January numbers that came out for January were hosed. I think, well, for December were hosed. And I'm thinking this is going to be hosed too. I think there comes a point where we've got to come to the realization that from an employment perspective, we are not in a good place. We are not. Companies are not thinking about who can afford their products and services. The only thing on their mind is more, more, more. And what makes it ridiculous, if you've seen that Star Wars where he screams out more and more and more, you can see the utter ridiculousness of it. And it had to be called to his attention. It's the same thing here. It's the utter ridiculousness of it all. Now, today's question, on average, how much have rents risen in the United States over the past 5 years? 5.9%, 17.5%, 23.7%, or other? If you think it's other, drop it in the comments, or drop it in the comments. You know what's up. So here's the deal. Some people might be asking, why are you asking that question? We're going to get into that conversation a little bit later, and it will strike you because it's probably not something that you're thinking about. I can almost guarantee that it's not something you're thinking about. And even if you were, it's a really interesting conversation. It's a really interesting conversation, which is why I'm interested in CPI and the jobs numbers right now. Right. But looking at jobs, looking at our job situation, I mean, who was the last company you heard that was hiring? What you heard was, oh, you got to go get vocational jobs. I want you to stop and think about this. Every so often, companies and the haves versus the have-nots, I'm in the have-not section, the haves will say, oh, you need to do this in order to live a good life. You need to do that in order to live a good life. Your kids need to go to college, and you know, if they plan on living a good life, they teach that to you so that you pass it down to your kids so that they go to college. How many kids do you know that have gone to college, graduated from college, good grades, solid grades, even best of the class? Do you realize that some of these kids are not finding jobs? Not even some. A lot of these kids are not finding jobs. Let me rephrase that. They're not finding jobs in their chosen career path. Why? Because while they were in school, busting their humps and trying to get it done, trying to make sure that, you know, they don't waste that money, they wound up wasting the money anyway, and it wasn't even their fault. It wasn't even their fault. The world changed over the past, call it 10, 15 years, right? Go to college, you'll get a job. Go to college, you'll get a job. Go to college, you'll get a job. You'll get laid off, even though you have a college degree. Go to college, you'll get a job. You'll get laid off, even though you have a college degree. It's happened a few times over the past, 20 years? What was it, 1989 or 87, when The Secret of My Success came out? That was real. People were getting laid off. Now, you fast forward a couple of times, and it's happened again a few times since then. Yeah, and they spend half their lives paying the loans back, depending on, you know, what kind of grades they got, what kind of scholarships they got. If you didn't, some kids, I know smart kids that wasted their time in high school and didn't get good grades, even though they were more than capable of getting good grades. Some of those kids wound up going to college and paying the price for it. Why? Because if you don't get good grades, you don't get that scholarship. You don't get the scholarship, you've got to get a loan. You get a loan, you got to pay that back, and that's where you get burned. So most kids got to take a loan, right? Up here, the haves, they don't have to worry about that. But I digress. You go take a loan, and you wind up paying that loan back for years, like seemingly forever. I told you a while ago when I first started the show, that there was an article done by the New York Times eons ago, and they had done the mathematical calculation on, had you graduated from high school and just gotten a job, this is how much money you would have made on average, after a certain period of time. And that same period of time, the person that went to college would be making about $50,000, will have made about $50,000 to $75,000 more than you. But you have no bills. I was that kid. I was like, I'm done. I need to go make money. So that's what I did. I didn't go to college. Graduated from one of the best high schools in the country and decided to go to work. Decided to go learn. Like learn. Real world learn. I found that I had taken a couple of jobs from people with college degrees. I had taken jobs away from people that had more experience. I was cheap and I was eager to learn. Looking back at it, hindsight being 20/20, I was cheaper and eager to learn. And I could learn fast. That's one of my good traits, is I'm capable of learning quickly because I love to learn. Anywho, I didn't go to college. Didn't have any bills. A lot of people go to college, graduate from college, have bills, and you want to know something? College got so expensive, people are still paying their bills in their 40s. Into their 40s. Yeah. I know a guy who went to college, smart dude, went to school with me, went to high school with me, smart dude. Still a smart dude. I mean, nothing's changed. He went to college. He got a job with the sanitation department. Yeah, he was picking up garbage. Whole career. Did all right for himself. Let's not get it twisted. Did all right for himself. Have anything to do with his college education? What's going on now? You have kids graduating from college, can't get a job. Great. You got that in your head, right? Can't get a job. Why can't they get a job? A lot of the jobs that they're going for, you can train AI to do a big chunk of those jobs. Sorry, kid, don't need you. Now they're bringing in AI to do the next level up jobs. I told you years ago, first it was manufacturing, then it was low-level office jobs that they were either going to outsource or push overseas. They did that. Started off with like personal assistants. Started off with low-level office jobs that they could push overseas. And then it kept growing from there. You started telling your kids, oh, you got to get into technology. You got to take technology courses and you got to do technology. So we have a whole bunch of kids, graduated college. They're data scientists. They graduated. They did their thing. A lot of them can't get jobs. Software engineers can't get jobs. You don't have the experience. And the people with the experience are also leveraging AI. Is AI answering all the questions from an architectural perspective? No. Will it? No. But will it help them do some of the tasks that they would have handed off to a junior developer? Training somebody. If I get a junior developer to do something, that developer is going to learn how to do things. That developer is going to be working with a more senior developer, and that's how you grow in that line of work. I know this because I have people on my team that do that for a living. But go to some of these larger organizations. I told you the other day how Goldman Sachs brought in Anthropic. You think they're the only company that brought in Anthropic or whatever company there was? No, they're not. I was at a company where they were taking their code and refactoring their code so that they can move it to another platform. Refactoring, basically just changing the code so it'll work someplace else. Layman's terms. Keep it easy. And they were using AI to do that. Normally you would use a human being, but to use a human being, it takes a lot of money, a lot of time, a lot of human beings using AI. They could even map the code. What code touches what code? So if you make a change in this code, you know you got to make a change over here, so on and so forth. Get it? So we could see that. Those are jobs that they don't have to fill. Huh. So all that code is being given to AI, and AI is learning from it. So when you see these college kids graduating who just got told, oh, you got to get a college degree, got their goddamn college degrees, and now they can't find jobs. Not going to find a job at a big company. You might find a job at a smaller company. But that big company experience that you were hoping to get, because you got stellar freaking grades, yeah. Sorry that didn't work out. Aloha 8 Paws, thanks for letting us know that you're invested in yourself. So yeah, that didn't happen. And so you sit there and you're like, wow. So I'm looking at the news this week and I'm saying to myself, I'm not expecting any movement except down this week. We'll get the jobs data. I think that's going to bring us down. We'll get the CPI data, and some people, and you can tell who's going to do this because they'll sit there and be like, oh, the economy's doing well. K. They're looking at the upper leg of the K, not the lower leg. Yeah. You have to start to understand that these people, they don't want to hear anything bad. They don't want to talk about anything bad. They only want to hear about the good stuff. Well, the fact is that some of these people are not going to be able to do what they used to do. K-shaped economy. One leg going down, one leg going up. Even those that have it going up, it's going to wind up being a problem. And why is that? Because everything happens in stages, right? Those people at the top of the K, this is the K. Those people at the top of the K, some of those people under certain circumstances are going to wind up down here. So that can happen. They're steady, they're strong right now, but a couple more things change and they can find themselves on the wrong side of the K. Your other 30 to 40%. Okay, got it. So again, tonight's question, and on average, how much have rents risen in the United States over the past 5 years? 5.9%, 17.5%, 23.7%, or other. If it's other, drop it in the comments. We'll get to that in a little while. So again, I'm not expecting anything this week that's going to be good. I'm not expecting jobs numbers to be good. And let me tell you something. If the jobs numbers come out and they're good, I'm probably going to scream at the top of my lungs, liar! You ever see Princess Bride? And the wife comes out and calls him a liar, screams liar. I'll be screaming like that. High-pitched Jewish old lady voice. That would be me. Dead serious. Because there's just no stinking way. Who have you heard that's hiring? They're running around telling everybody, don't get a college degree. College isn't for everybody. Go get a vocation. Go get a vacation job. Why are they telling you that? Oh, because they need to build their data centers. And what do their data centers need? Plumbing, HVAC, electricity. There you go. That's what I need. That's what I need. Are they going to bring construction jobs for a little while, a couple of years that it takes to build them out? Yeah. Then where do those construction workers go? Feast and famine when it comes to construction, right? Feast and famine. Tons of construction jobs, and then there are no construction jobs. We don't have enough people to do this construction. And all of a sudden, we have too many people to do this construction. Mind you, you do have printers that print buildings. There are lots of things. But that's always their thing, right? Oh, we'll bring jobs. We're bringing jobs. How many jobs and for how long will you sustain that community in which you are building your ridiculously large, ridiculously resource-hungry data center? How long are you going to do anything for that community? You're not doing anything for that community. You build a data center, what happens? Electricity prices immediately go up. Why? Because they got a deal on electricity and we didn't. Screw the little guy. Screw the little girl. You think I'm playing? You know I'm not. There are people out there that live next to data centers and they're like, no, he's not playing. He's serious. Yep. I'm dead serious. And then you start to realize, holy moly, there's just this stuff. So this week's jobs numbers, I'm not expecting anything good. Did you hear anybody saying, oh, we're hiring 10,000 people. We're hiring 50,000 people. I'm not hearing that. But you know what I did hear? A whole list of companies that are laying off thousands. Thousands. I had somebody come at me in the comments and they were like, you got it all wrong about those H-1B visas. They have to pay $100,000 every year. First of all, they do not have to pay $100,000 every year. It's a one-time expense. A little bit of research. A little bit of research. And if you got your applications in before a certain time, you don't have to worry about that. It's not retroactive. Nope. That's not how that works. So I don't understand how people have something to say, but they don't go do their own research. You want to come at me? Go pull the newspaper and show it to me. Go pull the facts and tell me. Now, how many times members have told me, hey, I think you got that wrong. Here's the detail on that. Oh, thanks. I don't get into a fight over it. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I have no problem with that. Thank you for teaching me something. Thank you for sharing. So I'm just saying, go do your own research. The last thing that you hear is not always the fact. It's just the last thing you heard. So now we have a whole bunch of kids that graduate college with a degree. And you have a lot of those kids thinking, oh man, maybe I should just go learn a vocation. I'm still young. Got to pay for that college education somehow. Let me go get that job at the sanitation department. Let me go become a fireman or a police officer. Let me go become an electrician, plumber. I'm still young. I can crawl around small spaces. Not me. I'm big and fat, so that's not gonna happen. I got realistic goals. If the youngins get lucky, they will get a contract to fix things as they break. Maybe. But you have to intern with an electrician and all that good stuff. And there are some companies that are paying people to intern within a vocation because they need that many people. And those are jobs that they don't have robots for yet. You think I'm playing? I'm not playing. They don't have robots for them yet. So you've seen some of these videos with some of these robots. A lot of those videos are real. Imagine that robot with those kind of capabilities with a brain. Watch that movie, I, Robot. Isaac Asimov, I'm telling you, you'll see a lot, you'll learn a lot, you'll start thinking a lot. You'll be like, oh, that's serious. There's some of these things that I'm looking at, that I'm paying attention to. They're not pointing to good jobs numbers. The consumer price index, I don't have any positive hope on that. None whatsoever. I'll be happy if I'm proven wrong, right? Because that would be good for the market. I expect none. What I'm hoping for is that is actually already factored in. And when we get the bad numbers, it'll be a brief decline. A brief decline. One of my friends is a big executive at a company that helps people, get their finances back in order. Meaning, you owe money to a credit card company. If you call up to negotiate your payback period and all that good stuff with the credit card company, chances are it's going to be his company that answers the phone. And he's like, yeah. I'm telling you, I think that there are upticks in the market. I think that we already know that there are a lot of people that have leveraged their credit to the hilt. And I think those are the numbers that we're going to start seeing. I think there are a lot of companies that are going to take a hit. Software took a hit. Why? AI. Took a hit because of AI. Why do I need your software if I can do that with AI? I was goofing around with one of my coworkers today, and I was like, "Yeah, man, it's coming up on time to renew the Microsoft partnership. I'm trying to do the math. So when was the last time you used Microsoft Word?" He looked at me cross-eyed and went, "Microsoft the what now?" And I just looked at him and I was like, "You're not funny." He goes, "I'm not trying to be funny. What do I need Microsoft Word for?" And I was like, "What happens if we have to bang out a proposal?" He goes, "I give all the information to AI. AI spits out a PDF. I'm off to the races. What's next?" I shut my mouth is what I did. I shut my mouth. I was like, "Yeah, you got a point with that Microsoft thing." I said, "What about Excel?" He goes, "What about it?" I could see it coming. He was like, "What do you need? Math? Data analysis?" He was like, "Are you really going to talk to me about data analysis? You need Excel?" He just looked at me and he was like, "You're cute." You want to slap that in a nice presentation? What, you going to talk to me about PowerPoint now too? It was so bad that he called somebody else and was like, "Let's look at this guy. I pay these people. And they're laughing at me." Not a little bit, not giggles. I mean hard. To my face. So software's been taking a hit. And I said, okay, so software takes a hit. All right. Is it too much of a hit? Depending on the company, it could be too much of a hit. If it's Microsoft, probably too much of a hit. They have a lot of things going on. But is software one of them? Yeah. Incremental upgrades to Microsoft Word, Microsoft Office, whatever. The Power Platform, they're not building software anymore. In my humble opinion, they haven't built software in years. Nothing innovative. Except you have all these little companies come out with a whole bunch of stuff. And what do? They basically just copycat what these little companies are doing. Canva, Microsoft now has their own version of Canva. Woo! They all do it. Nothing to be mad at. It's what else you're going to need. Instead of thinking, how can I make that easier? Need to work on an image? what is it? I think it's Z image that will take your image and break it into layers so you can work on each layer separately. Just like in Photoshop. Except you're using text to tell it what to do. Yeah. Just saying. They're going after legal jobs. I want you to stop and think about that. They're going after legal jobs. Are they the first to do so? No. Think LegalZoom. LegalZoom was the first company to go after legal jobs. Oh, you need a patent? Oh, we could do that. You need a trademark? Oh, we could do that. Yeah. LegalZoom was the first one to go after legal jobs. And now you have Anthropic dropping software that it must be considered. Not to say it's definitely going to be the choice, but wow, you got to consider it. It's now a consideration. It's on the list of that could work. There's good and there's good enough. There's great, there's good enough. There's awesome, there's good enough. Overpromise, underdeliver. That's what these businesses are doing these days. When was the last time you looked at a luxury car? Overprice and underdeliver. So as I look at the news, I sit there and I just go, wow, look at all these companies. Glad they exist now because they won't, I don't know that these would have been ideas in the future. Just saying. Crypto industry faces consolidation with larger companies acquiring small companies. Wow, I wonder who said that. Consolidation and culling. Some businesses going to straight up go out. Bye. Other businesses will get bought. I've been saying it for a while. It's natural. And now we're starting to see it. Now we're starting to see it actually happen. The smart ones are starting now. You got the money to buy it? Buy it. Because a year, 2 years down the road, that might be why you're surviving. Dead serious. For the little person, I'm looking at, you're probably going to have to buy a business. Will it be hard to figure out, can that business be successful? You'll have to figure that out. But you might have to buy a business in order to make ends meet. People are like, what business? What do you have skills in? What are your interests? Are you good at it? Can you find something that's already making money and take it over from an owner that wants to retire and has nobody to give the business to? Some owners don't even want to try to sell it because they know they can't. Just take it off my hands, please. I want to be done. I just feel that these people should have a job. That's serious. A lot of stuff going on. Shiba Inu saw a $20.8 billion SHIB transfer from OKX to cold storage. That's big for SHIB. Retail investors monitored crypto market capitulation as Google trends surged and Bitcoin had fallen all the way down. Yo, my man Hutanic, thanks for letting us know you invest in yourself. Greatly appreciate that. But I'm sitting here and I'm looking at retail investors are monitoring crypto market capitulation. Monitoring that versus what? Stocks. Some stocks took a hit. I'm monitoring too. I keep telling people, it's not just about stocks. It's not just about crypto. It's never one thing or. They all go together. It's up to you to figure out, well, which one am I interested in? What am I going to do? Some people don't believe me. And I sit there and I just go, oh, man, please believe me. They all go together. They all affect each other. Whether one makes the other go up, the other one makes the other one go down, whatever the relationships are, pay attention. Do your own research. Know your entries and exits and absolutely invest deliberately. The GMB3, I teach it all the time. I'm not telling you what to buy, when to buy, or anything else like that. I'm trying to give you a perspective on thought process. Here's one way you could be thinking. Maybe you find somebody else that has, another set of rules, and you learn what they are doing and you figure out what works for you. When you work out what works for you, that's called your risk framework. Yes, I know. I mention it every day. Every day, day in, day out. You want to know why? Because so many people write it off and they think, oh, I know what I'm doing, or it's too much over my head. It's not. Either case, it's not. These are things you should know, things you should learn. Really and true. What other good news do we have? S&P 500 rose 4.47% to 6964.82. Dow Jones hit record 50,135.87. The NASDAQ jumped to 0.9% over the past few days. Yep. All that good stuff. Polymarket is suing Massachusetts, saying that the CFTC has exclusivity to regulating their company. Maybe. That's a maybe. Because it's gambling. So I was listening to a news article today. I think it was CNBC. And they were like, yeah, she said, prediction markets are, taking the excitement out of the air from crypto, and they're pitching prediction markets like you could use it to pay your bills, and you could do this and you can do that. And I sat there and I listened to this young woman, and she's right. That's what they do. They're selling gambling under a new name, and getting you to think that, well, if you do this, you can earn enough money or make enough money to pay your bills, like it's a job. Huh? Are you for real? Sadly, the answer to that is yes. And she's like, yeah. And people are starting to look at prediction markets instead of crypto, prediction markets instead of stocks. And she's right. That's what they're doing. And I'm just like, you got to be kidding me. Got to be kidding me. That's not how it's supposed to work. Right? That's not how it's supposed to work. That's not how it's supposed to be. But it is. And too many people are falling for the rope-a-dope. Too many people are falling for the rope-a-dope. So what I'm hoping for is that everybody in the GMB community is saying, yeah, I'm not falling for that rope-a-dope. Maybe for fun, I'll do one. Like, I've never done any prediction markets. Nope. And not because I'm above it or anything else like that. I just think it's gambling, and I don't gamble. Like, I'll bet on myself. I'll bet on my skills. Owning a company, you want to know what you're doing? You're betting on your staff to pull it off. That's about all the betting I need to do. I don't need to bet on anything else. I want to create outcomes. That's what I want to do. But that's all prediction markets are. Be careful with that. If you're doing the prediction markets, I will tell you, please be careful with that. It's dangerous. It really is. Let's get some more news. Cango, C-A-N-G-O, not the hat company or the glasses company, not them from back in the day, sold 4,451 BTC for $305 million to fund AI infrastructure. They're pulling back on crypto and building out for AI. Interesting. I keep looking at all these companies that are putting all their eggs in the basket, going after AI, and I'm sitting there and I'm just going, not that I want the bubble to burst, but I want people to learn the lesson. you think you're building something that everybody wants, and what you're learning is everybody wants a solution. They don't care about the tools. They care about the solutions that you can get from the tools. That one. I don't care about OpenClaw. I don't care about that. I care about the solutions that can be made with it. I have a development team. I'm not using that. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. Anything it can do, I can build an agent for myself. I don't need that. It's got too many security holes. It doesn't follow guardrails. Too many ways to get around it. I'm good off that. But meanwhile, you have all these people out there talking about how I can install it for you and I can make it secure for you. You only need one mistake. You only need one mistake. Like I give this example all the time. Look at Meta. When Cambridge Analytics got their hold on the data, or just anybody who's using anybody else's information, and oops, it slipped out. Say what now? Yeah. That's when you start to realize, that's not such a good idea. That was bad. I'm looking at all these companies that I literally had a conversation with my team, an official conversation, right? Official conversation with my team about using online cloud storage. Everybody looked at me cross-eyed and was like, why is that even a question? We don't do that anymore. That's what my team said. We don't do that anymore. Because now, whatever you put on, in the cloud, including your website, whatever you put in the cloud belongs to another company. You have to do all kinds of research and all kinds of stuff like that. And if you give it to an AI company, now you've got an even bigger bag of worms that you have to deal with, and that you need to make sure that they're not using your data to train their large language models. Yo, Dark Horse in the house. Thanks for letting us know you're investing in yourself. Speaking on this, the meeting I just missed earlier tonight because for endpoint hardening, it guarantees your security configs for compliance. No, it doesn't. Think about what you just said, and I'm going to challenge you, and I'm going to say no, it doesn't. I want you to think about that. Why would I say no, it doesn't? Because nothing is a guarantee. It gives you a checkbox, but nothing is a guarantee. What he is talking about is, this is what I do here, internally. Exactly. My team is like, what do you need that's in the cloud that we don't have internally? Storage? Storage is so cheap. What do you need? It automates it, but that doesn't guarantee anything. That's why I'm saying there's a big difference in that, right? You being in the space, you understand what I'm talking about. Might give you a checkbox, but that's not a guarantee that it's going to work. And I went over the other day about how if I want to break into something, I'm probably not using the old ways on how to get there. I don't need something to phone home, which means that you're not going to have heuristics, meaning that you're not going to know where it's coming from. Hell, you might not even be able to identify where you got it. So keeping my files on the, all over the internet, we'll back it up. It's so cheap now. Hard drive space, storage space is cheap. I have half a petabyte in my house. I'll never use it all. I mean, most likely. But it's so cheap that I can just go buy some more. until they start making hard drives too expensive to buy, because RAM is still too expensive to buy. Somebody came at me when I said that there's a lot of RAM sitting on the sidelines, and it's sitting on the sidelines so that they can use it in the AI data centers. And somebody was like, no, why would they? No, that's not the way it is. It's just more expensive. No, it's not. No, it's not. And there are tons of companies that are stockpiling tons of stuff. And then so all you need are companies that are stockpiling and companies that say we're exiting that market. Ta-da! That's all you need. And then you realize, holy moly, damn. Then it all comes together for you. Just saying. Yeah, I recently got a Start9 server set up for backups and just backup locally. Yep. I mean, my team and I, we're geographically dispersed, so we back up amongst each other because internet speed from wherever you are is usually pretty fast. Yep. You run raids in your home. There are different ways that you do storage. I don't want to go too technical on people, but it's something to think about. AI is only at a Timex Sinclair moment, just a bit early. Wrong. That's not what you're going to say when people are losing jobs because AI can do those tasks more efficiently or faster. Over the weekend, I was watching this movie, one of my favorite movies called Hidden Figures. And it's about these three women who basically put men on the moon. If it wasn't for these women and others, man wouldn't have been to the moon. Man wouldn't have been in space. That said, what came along as they were using computers? Because a computer, this is called a computer too, but it's not. A computer would be a human being that did all that math. And so they were doing all that math, and what came along right with them? Big Iron, the IBMs. That's what came along. That's what came along. And it made computers obsolete. The name went from humans to machines. Computers. A first language? COBOL. That language that's still used now in most financial institutions. Well, sorry, most banks. COBOL. Oh my God. Yeah. Interesting. It's all interesting to me. So I get what you're saying. But it's far beyond a Timex. It was a Timex. Rick Ritchie was a Timex back in 1956. You know what I mean? AI didn't just get here, or the term AI didn't just get here, right? The usefulness of AI didn't just get here. It just got here so that it was in the hands of a regular person. Anybody sitting at a desk could access it. That didn't happen back in the day, but it was always being used. When you got your first desktop computer, there was this whole thing, text to speech. That was AI. Except they didn't have that cool word for it. It was text to speech. That's all it was. And it was so cool. And then you figured out, I don't know what to use that for, until you started hearing the automated messages. Oh, snap. I guess there is it is a useful tool, right? And then you start to realize, holy moly. Yo, D Mac into his house. Have you invested in yourself tonight, young man? They could calculate the numbers in their heads. Yep, computing numbers. Computers. They compute. That's serious. For real, for real. And people think I'm crazy. And I'm like, no, look over history. History will show you we've had moments in time just like this. It's far beyond a Timex. It's far beyond a Timex. I get what you're saying. Don't get me wrong. I get what you're saying. To a certain extent, I agreed, but that probably would have been like 10 years ago. Now you're talking about it's come a long way. These algorithms are capable of doing a lot of different things, and they are doing a lot of different things. They're not taking jobs. I said it to people before. They're not taking jobs. They're taking tasks. They're taking tasks. And you get to a point where it can do this bevy of tasks. And then, wow, I actually don't need this human being anymore because 70, 80% of their job is doing those tasks, where I can get those tasks done in 5 minutes now instead of 3 days. Get enough of those tasks going on and you start to realize, holy moly, I actually don't need that whole team. People out of work with skill sets that you go get another job, you could probably expect to get fired again or, laid off again for the same reason. How are people going to eat? Which brings me to tonight's question. On average, how much have rents risen in the United States over the past 5 years? Only 5. Only 5. Rents have risen 5.9%, 17.5%, 23.7%, or other. %28. 28%. I told you guys the other day, I came across an apartment not too far away from where I live. $2,750. I know people that live in decent houses with mortgages that cost less than that. The whole damn house for less than that. $2,750. Why is that question a big deal? Rents rose 28% over 5 years, prompting growth in rent now, pay later services with over 100% effective annual interest rates. You already pay monthly. Now they're breaking it up so that, you can't do that. We can break that up for you for, to make it, twice a month. Plus interest, of course. That's what's going on right now. Affirm, Flex, Livable. Yeah. It's a real thing. You can go look it up. They processed, holy moly, I'm still shaking over this. They processed $2 billion monthly in rent. Remember what I said about I'm not expecting any great numbers? Remember when I said that? I said that. Jobs, I'm not expecting great numbers. Consumer price index, I'm not expecting great numbers. People think I'm loony. Am I though? Seriously, stop and think about that. AI is limited by prompting it. Or the context of the question. Understanding or training ourselves to use AI is a skill to learn. Sort of yes, sort of no. I can have AI, that's true about AI, but I can have that information fed to AI. I can automate that process. Those are called agents. Agentic development. In a way, you're right. In a way, you're wrong. A little while ago, a few years ago, maybe you could actually say that. Right now, it's kind of like, no, it can't think. AI doesn't think, it calculates. What does it calculate, Mr. Johnson? It calculates the data that you're giving it. and what its expected output is going to be. Calculates. And then you can have other agents check what that agent did and have them keep going until they're in consensus, and then they feed it to you. Here you go. Here's the answer. So prompt engineering was a useful job a couple of years ago. Really and true. People want to know, can you build solutions? That whole vibe coding thing, good luck with that. Proof of concept at best. A real whole architecture? No. Not happening. Not happening. Agentic AI is gonna be incredible. It's already here. It's already interesting. It can already do a lot of things. It's already here. We have only witnessed the very birth of AI. We have not witnessed the birth of AI. That's what I was saying earlier. We have not witnessed the birth of AI. The birth of AI happened decades ago. What we're witnessing, what I hope is going to be the birth of UBI. I mean, think about all the things that need to happen. People need to be able to earn money to pay for goods and services, right? Or for the betterment of mankind, money goes away because it doesn't matter. Everybody needs to eat. Everybody needs a roof over their head. Everybody needs clothing. It'll be a long time before that concept would ever kick in, but even on Star Trek, that concept kicked in. At some point, somebody's going to invent a machine that can make food. Like Star Wars. Bink. I mean, like Star Trek. Bink. And then it just makes your food. Dead serious. Kid you not. And then what happens? You don't need a farmer, right? Do you grow cattle anymore? Do you have a hamburger anymore? You guys are talking about technology as if it's not here already. It's already here. You guys are caught a few years ago. Right now, there's a lot of stuff that I can do with AI. Right now, I can leverage AI to replace a lot of tasks that would normally go to a human being to do. I was just telling my wife that last night. We live in a time where, what is it, all of Europe? The European way of, you're not going to fire anybody if you are cash flow positive. Because what's the point? You can find something else for them to do, or you could just give them the money for free. Which would you have? I mean, think about this. You're going to have companies that are going to have employees that can work 24/7, not need sleep, not need food. See where this is going? You have companies right now that are building entrepreneurs in a box. They're using agentic development to build entrepreneurs in a box, not a human being, AI being the entrepreneur. Coming up with ideas, figuring it all out, building what needs to be built, blah, 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 blah. Allegedly, there's a place where you can rent a human. Allegedly. Some people are like, oh, ha, ha, that's funny, that's funny. How far away are you from that being a reality? There's certain realistic things that we need to look at, certain things that we need to come to terms with. But when you have rents as high as $2,750 for people that are graduating college that can't get a job, then what? You're not going to have people that can afford those rents. You have buildings in Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee, practically empty. Why? Nobody can afford to live there. They're trying to drop prices. They're giving away 3 months rent for free and nobody can afford it. So how long will it be before these companies wake up and go, how long before we don't need humans to do anything? Computers all do it for us. Go watch the movie, Wall-E, W-A-L-L-E, Wall-E. I think it's Wall-E. It's a Disney movie. Go watch that. As soon as you start watching it, you'll be like, I kid you not. I kid you not. Movies like that, Big Hero 6, Ready Player One. You start to realize, some of these things are real. They're here now. Just saying. Pay attention. The signs are out there. Not to change the subject, but changing the subject. I'm trying to find a way to import a Zeekr 7X. I just want to kick you in the shin right about now. I want to kick you in the shin right about now. My son and I said to my son, oh man, have you seen that truck, Zeekr? Oh my God. He was like, dude. And I just sat there and I was like, oh man. Problem. I said it the other night, right? The big automakers in the United States don't want BYD here. They don't want Zeekr here. Zeekr's owned by, part of the ownership of Zeekr is Volvo. So it's got a greater chance of getting here. Who is it? Mazda? I think it's Mazda. They have there's an MX car, and then there's an HX car that's being sold in, where else? China. They had to soup up that car to catch up to get into the Chinese market. Will it show up here? No, but if you go look it up, you'll be like, oh my God, what? Yeah. But Toyota and US car manufacturers want to nickel and dime you and have you spend a monthly subscription for certain features in your car. Let me tell you something that's really funny. I used to ride motorcycle, and I'm one of those guys that I would ride motorcycle all year round because the guy that taught me how to ride motorcycle rode all year round. Got the winter gear, the whole nine. Bought a motorcycle with heated grips. These heated grips were so good that even with wearing gloves, I'd have to turn the heaters off because it would I could feel my hands cooking. When I say toasty warm, I mean toasty. I had the whole heated outfit. Then I got the gloves. And then I was like, oh, I don't need the heated grips. I got heated gloves. I got the heated outfit. I would get off my bike in the middle of winter, take off my helmet, and you see steam. You would see steam. Thinking I was Ghost Rider or something like that. Dead serious. Nice and toasty. I say that because even if they don't let BYD into the United States, they don't let any one of these slick cars into the United States, what's going to wind up happening? The same thing that used to happen back in the day. Your car came with a radio. You took it to the shop. And they gave you a Benzie box, the ones that with the handle that you could pull out. They gave you the better sound system. You'll just replace. Yeah. I don't need your stuff. There's a device that I can put on my steering wheel that'll give me back my heated seats. That'll give me back my heated steering wheel. I can get I have one on my other chair. It's a heating pad for the chair. Heats up the back, heats the tail. Plug it in, I'm good to go. Listen here. I think the auto industry in the United States is going to get kicked in the teeth because they refuse to actually embrace competition. And instead of that competition coming from cars, that competition will come from device manufacturers. People that will sew heating elements into whatever it is and a teensy weensy little battery pack. These car manufacturers, I mean, they for a hot second they were selling the infotainment system, right? Oh my God, they would rake you across the coals for the entertainment system. And now they don't want to put in Apple CarPlay. They don't want to put in Android. Why? Because they want you to pay for their infotainment system. And they're not getting it. Back in the day, I don't need your infotainment system. I'll rip it the hell out. I'll go get the bare bones car and, oh, you can't do that because all the electronics are tied in. It'll be like 10 minutes before somebody figures out how to jailbreak a car. They already do it. Start your car remotely, break into your car by reading the key fob that's in your house with a little radio. Yeah, they already do that. So, yeah, I want to kick you in the pause. We were just talking about that. Anyway, everybody, this is Eddie J on crypto for growmybag.tv. Hope you like what we're doing. If you want to see more news, go over to growmybag.tv and look at all the articles that are there. Basically, everything I'm talking about is over there. We try to keep it real. If you like what I'm doing, smash the likes, tell your friends about us, and join up, become a member. It's $1 a month. It's not painful at all. Everybody, have a great day. Have a great rest of your day, great night. And I'll see you tomorrow morning, 6:30 a.m. on The Daily. But we'll talk about more stuff, but closer to the news. Anyway, everybody, have a good one. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. And absolutely, thank you for your trust. Have a good one. Bye-bye.